that was? Do you remember? Where we are reviewing our levels, defining vision, creating mission, setting goals and objectives, developing outline and outlining the approach, getting down to detailed activities, tasks and tactics. I think we did that, eh? Was that not the last one we did? We did this one. This one was just a review because we have come across it already in the past. But I was doing it so that you can remember what we had been doing before. For instance, we looked at you remember we looked at this? You remember? Yes. Was there something still remaining about this? We didn't have a concrete example. Did we have a concrete example on this one? We did not. I would like to have a concrete example, but maybe it can take us a little bit of time, because what it means is we can create our own challenge and break it up and see how it fits in with our strategic management. Do you understand what I mean? Maybe we can spend just few minutes, maybe up to 10 minutes. Right? You remember what was our company for this class? Malawi. You remember our Malawi? You do? And Malawi is doing what? What is Malawi doing? Malawi cooking oil, right? Yeah. What do you think would be challenges? What do you think would be challenges? Competitors, okay? So, challenges, competition. What else? Just imagine what kind of challenges there could be. Supply chain. In other words, where to get resources, is it? Supplies and supply chain, right? Another one? Equipment, yeah, equipment. Let's look at the last one for purposes of the example. What other challenge would you have? Maybe inadequate qualified staff, isn't it? Sorry, I'm doing this because I think it will be clearer for you to understand what happens. 2, you prioritize. If you look at this, which one do you think would be priority number 1? There are methods of prioritizing. Some of them are very rigorous, importance, urgent, what. But the simplest, okay, how many people think competition is the biggest challenge? Raise your hand. No one? Oh, one. Okay. Two. Okay. Two. Who thinks suppliers and supply chain? Zero. Oh, one. One. You can vote twice, it doesn't matter. Who think equipment? None. Zero. One. Who think inadequate qualified staff? You can't even vote twice, you people. Oh, two. You are two? Two. Okay. So here two. If we use this simplest kind of prioritizing, there are two twos. So we remove these two. Who want competition? Everybody vote. Who wants competition? There will be two items to vote for. Competition and inadequate staff. So who want competition? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Who want unqualified staff? 2. Okay. So it means this one has carried the day. See, George? Now let's see how we work with this one so that you can understand. So we have prioritized competition as our challenge. Now, if competition is our challenge, what should be our vision? What would be our vision? If competition is our challenge, what will be our vision? Provide best quality. Very good. Our company Mulawe should provide the best quality. Malawi to provide best quality but cheap cooking oil. You can see how it works. Now, if that is the case, we come up with step number 5. You see, we have articulated the challenge. Now we should state issues between the current situation and the measurable situation. What we want in future. All right? So we will say, how can we accomplish best quality and cheap cooking oil, which is measurable, given that there is very stiff competition. You have seen what I mean? How can we get the best cooking oil, cheap and best and cheap cooking oil, given that we have a very stiff competition? There are a lot of other. Yes, so we start unpacking that statement to say, number 4, how do we do it? This is where now, because now we have these challenges, Maona, we have taken competition, we have now broken it to how we want to achieve the best cooking oil. So how do we do it? Can you think of methods? To have the best, you have to have what? You have seen, we have chosen this one, but you may find that some of these might be part of the challenges, isn't it? To get the best, you need what? Equipment. So we have to have better equipment. isn't it? Competition is our challenge. What else? Qualified staff. Again, what else? Yes, available supplies, availability of supplies. Now, each one of these, when you look at them, these better equipment, these are methods or strategies to make sure that we can achieve our best quality, whatever. So, to get to the activities here, these, first of all, we have these obstacles. These are our obstacles. Right? We put them here. Maona? Now, against these obstacles, we have these things which are our strategies. How do we get the best, better equipment? How do we get better equipment? Purchase, procure better. So procure better equipment. Okay? 2. So this is one of the activities here. Mukuona? Mukuvesa bwino bwino. What else? What about the other one? Qualified staff. How do we get it? Yes, you can train or employ, hire or employ. Train or hire, procure qualified staff. It means this staff now know their job. They will be able to know how to make the best cooking oil, isn't it? What about the other one? Availability of supplies. How do you get supplies readily available? How? Okay, think outside the box. Assuming our company is here in Lilongwe and we get our supplies from Mozambique, Zambia, Tanzania. How do you get our supplies available? I agree with you, but I didn't hear correctly. You said you order your materials in advance if it was in an exam, I was going to give you 100%. You know what happens to any supply chain, the one that you are talking about, supply chain? You are always mindful when the stocks, mukumva, the stocks of inputs, when they get lower and lower, there's a threshold which you say, this is a dangerous line. You have seen about fuel now. Fuel. Queues and queues. Because the stocks were getting lower and lower and we are not. So, ordering in time. Order supplies in time. So these 3 are the activities you put here, isn't it? Assuming these things are done, these activities. When we talk of activities, we use active verbs in the present tense. Active verb in the present tense. You understand? Active verb in the present tense. So there's procure, train, employ, order. These are examples of activities to activate in order to operationalize our strategy and achieve our vision. You remember the vision? You remember the vision? Yes. It's this one. To provide, yeah. So, the measurable result, what will it be? Measurable result, this is 4, 5, 6. Measurable result. In fact, in most instances, there will be outputs and outcomes. In terms of outputs, we are saying we want to procure better equipment. So if we are procuring our equipment maybe once in every 5 years, now we want to do it every what? 3 years. So by the end of 3 years, number of activities done. Number of activity, or it could be number of activity undertaken. In fact, most of the times is the like frequency. As output, number of activities undertaken. How many orders do we do now? We have to increase the number of orders. In terms of outcome, in fact, for each one of these is number of trainings done, number of employees recruited who are qualified, order supplies, number of times we have actually ordered the supplies. Mukumva pamenepo. But in terms of outcome, we will have the best results. Best results, meaning better cooking oil. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Can you see why the challenge becomes a very, very useful tool in strategic management? As we say, when we talk of strategic management, it is a process which helps to address challenges that occur in the implementation of the organizational plan. Okay? Strategic management is a process that is very important for actually ensuring that the organization achieves its objectives, which include addressing gaps or challenges. So if you use the challenge model, that becomes very, very useful. Are we together? Now you can understand it. Starting from the vision, we have a mission statement, but here we didn't speak too deeply about the mission statement, but it will comprise those elements which I have put there. How Malawi should provide the best quality but cheap cooking oil. And the things that will be in the mission statement will be these ones. The mission will be to make sure we have better equipment, qualified staff, available supplies, encouched in the mission statement. And then thereafter, we have activities to get off our strategies. And then from there, we have measurable results. I think we are clear now, eh? The challenge model, we are clear. So we had done this. We looked at the SWOT analysis. You remember? External and internal environment. Then we looked at this. You remember, right? Now you remember. Having done this, how do we formulate strategic management goals? This is important. I didn't want to miss it because the culmination of this course should be, at the end of this course, you should be able to come up with a strategic plan, or what we call organizational strategic plan. Formulation of goals is called goal setting, and it's a process that starts with careful consideration of what you want to achieve and ends with a lot of hard work to actually do it. In between, these are the very well-defined steps that transcend the specifics of each goal. In a lot of times, when we come up with things that must be done in the process, one of the best methods is to follow the chronological order of the activities. Mkumva pamene? Chronological order. What do I mean by chronological order? You know, things start from choyambirira chachiwiri chachitatu mukuvesa bwinobwino. In the sequence of time, you don't build the roof without having a foundation. Mukumva pamene? To build a house, you start with the foundation, the walls, then the structure, then the roofing. You don't start with the roof, although I've seen some churches. They start with the roof, then gradually, I don't know, it works though. So we don't want to follow the churches. So strategic goals serve as a guiding force throughout the organization's hierarchy. They align all levels and motivating employees to work collectively towards a shared objective. In other words, when you have these things done, you make sure that all the employees who are involved in the process know what is happening. You don't keep things secret in organizations. You must be transparent and accountable. So you make sure that everybody knows, they get motivated, they are involved, and everybody knows. Then it also, these goals provide leaders with a direction to identify ways and more optimal decisions to reach these goals. Otherwise, what it means there is these strategic goals, once you have formulated them, they tell the managers to make correct and appropriate decisions as to how their subordinates should perform their jobs. So that becomes very important. Knowing the steps is important. One, think about the results. If you have said our result here is what? What's our result here? Result. Better cooking oil than our competitors. Far much better and cheaper cooking oil than our competitors. So think of the results you want to see before making a goal. Take a close look at what you already are trying to do to achieve what you are doing. There are also a number of questions which you can ask in order to get to there. First of all, if you are a competitor, Is it important for you to know what your friends are doing? Yes, that becomes very important. So you need some kind of research. Kodi anza twaupanga bwanji. There's Malawi cooking oil, there's Mulawi cooking oil, there's Kukoma, there's what. You find out from them. You actually spy on them. That's the right word. You spy on them. Hey, spying sometimes is good. You spy on them and say, how much are they charging this? How much? And when you are doing that, you find that when you come to your cooking oil, maybe your level of expenditure can afford to do a better cooking oil if you just spend a little bit more but charging less than these people. Ambiri amene soap mkuziwa soap, washing soap. It's a very competitive industry. Some soaps are so expensive, some of them very cheap but very good. Eti mmasambira jani? Inu mmasambira ja? Mai. Ni soap wamene? Protex. Aha, she likes Protex. What do you mkusambira jani? Inu. What? Good. Oh, good. Inu ndinu wazungu. Mai mkusambira jani? Akusambira Mungu. Ine ni kusambira Lifebuoy. Lifebuoy. Alipo tu. And they have made sure that it is better than some of your soaps. Yes. Now if I asked you, why do you like Protex? You see, when I said the spying is good, if our Mulawi is not smelling very well, you know, with muddy flavor, you see, chiwisiwisi, I like that one. You find that ukumveka chiwisiwisi, we should find technical, we have these qualified people, qualified people who will tell us how to get kachiwisiwisi outside our cooking oil. So that it smells nicely and kumveka bwino. So you spy on them. So then you create smart goals. We will make sure that our cooking oil, alibe chiwisiwisi. That's one of them. We'll make sure it is cheaper than our friends. We'll make sure it's available everywhere, because sometimes someone will go to a place, I want Protex, zimezi kan town mokat. Mukumvesa inuyo sopo wanu akakale kuti. So after doing that, you come up with a set of smart goals, specific, money, whatever. You know what smart means, Then write your goals down, create an action plan, create timeline. Timeline is very important. For the challenge model, I said frequency will be one. Challenge model. You have already forgotten. At the periodicity of 6 months, you should check how you are doing. Which means in a year twice. Then take action. What does take action mean? Implement. So to implement your goals, you need, first of all, let's get up to here. You reevaluate and assess your progress by saying, have we actually created appropriate goals for us to achieve our objective? the best quality and cheap cooking oil. A very good example. Right? I like it. You have created it yourself. So, this is goals. Let's see, because goals are so important in strategic management. We say goals are what a business unit, which is a department or section, wants to achieve. Next, you formulate goals with specificity as to time, by when it will be performed, and magnitude, the quantity that is required, by how much it will be changed. So you are actually trying to make sure that they are smart. Smart meaning, you remember the example of being smart. You remember it? You remember that smart example? The simple example of being smart. All goals should be smart, that's specific whatever. Your goals must be specific enough to be quantified and measured, achievable. Not too easy, not too difficult, and therefore to be to the company's overall vision and mission. They must be relevant to the company's vision and mission. They should also have a specific time frame for completion. If a goal is infinite, it's not good. If in your goal you don't have a time frame, there's no way you can know whether you are making progress or not. You must have milestones. From here, I must get there. From there, I must get there. From there, and so on. So even when you are having this, procure better equipment. You remember here we said, how do you do it? Number of activities undertaken. So procurement, we are doing it once in every 5 years, 8. But now what do we want? Every 6 months or every year. You upgrade your equipment to make sure that it is up to date and producing the best. How often do you train or employ? It depends on the need of the organization. If you have trained them, maybe you don't need to employ them. But there are some people who are untrainable. Have you ever heard of this word? Untrainable? They can't be trained. So what do? Sack them. Why keep dandruff? Sack them and employ new ones. Order supplies in time. Don't wait until all supplies are finished, like which is this organization of ours which brings oil here? Nokma. Sorry, Anganimange. They shouldn't do that. They can't tell the nation to say, sorry, the reason is that we delayed in making payments, the foreign exchange was not there. No, we don't. Do you want to know about that? When you go to buy fuel, you buy cash. Do you buy pangongole? Oh, so where is this coming from? They should do their job properly. So this becomes important. I want to do more work today. Let's see. What does it mean to be smart? I think this, just keep yourself well knowledgeable. You know this now very well. You don't have to go back to it. This is the example of a SMART goal. SMART goal. You use active verbs in the present tense. So this is one example I picked from a book. I will run twice a week for at least 2 miles. so I can finish a marathon by the end of 2024. Okay? Right? Mukumvesa pamene? Specific. I will run. It's very specific. The activity is very specific. I will order, procure. It is specific, isn't it? I will train. It is specific. When you say I will train, it doesn't mean you will make people run around. You will train them. You will employ. You will not force them to come into the organization. You will employ. You will order. These are all activities and tasks that must be performed. So it must be specific. Measurable. Why did they say cancel out more often? You know, twice a week is measurable. You can measure twice a week, yet. Why not more often? It's so difficult to measure more often because what is more often to me is once in 5 years. Mukumvesa? While more often to you is once every week. So can you measure? No. So it must be twice a week. Then achievable. They crossed out 20. They know you can't make it. 80. But 2 miles, is 2 miles not possible? Hey, you are running 2 miles, you can do it. But 20 miles, question mark. Relevant. It should be relevant to your mission. Your mission is this goal. Whose is it? Whose goal is this? An athlete. This is a goal of an athlete. By the end of 2024, when there is a competition, ineyo ndikawina after doing this. Okay? So we are clear on SMART goals there. Right. I had another set of tips, but maybe I don't need to spend too much time on this. But you can look at them when I share with you the slides. Keep simple, treat yourself, yes. What they mean by treat yourself, do you ever celebrate when you do something well? Do you? The best times to celebrate is when you have passed your exams, when you get certification, when you go and get your certificate that you are now a graduate. You celebrate, isn't it? When you are doing your work, also celebrate. Treat yourself to something good. Ask yourself why before you set off on any significant goal. That why will tell you, why is it that we are doing this? But you have your vision, isn't it? It will tell you what needs to be done. Know your limits. Anyway, this one I don't even have to explain. There are certain things you cannot do beyond a certain threshold. So you should be able to know your, write everything down, stay flexible, learn from setbacks. The last one is also an important one because we call it to say experience is what? The best teacher. Small child like this one, we say, this child doesn't know that fire is a bad thing. So kale kumuzi tinali ndi tuma carboy mamziwa. You people ana ngono. Kale timakagula parafini kutira mkati tini ndikubola ndikuyasa. That was our lamp. That timaika ka wiki mkati then kuyasa. So the child would not know how dangerous fire is. So used to say, do, do. So the child thinks this is child's play, also brings her finger and goes into the flame like, hey, that will teach the child she will never do it again. So experience is the best teacher. Are we clear there? I'm a little bit fast. Doing strategic goals right. These are just tips as well. What we need to do is set the challenging, set purpose-driven yet specific goals. Goal setting, we have said yes, they must be specific. Set challenging but achievable goals. You remember my aim at the stars and you reach what? Treetops. When you are coming up with targets, make sure that these are targets that are achievable. Not too ambitious, not too small. Somewhere after you have evaluated, you can make adjustments. Then align organizational, departmental and individual objectives as well as work plans. What happens here is that as the organization, it has the broad goal. A department has a function which has its own goals. A department. Then the department, from those goals, it draws out objectives. This department is going to achieve this 1, 2, 3, 4. Out of the objectives, they derive activities and tasks for individuals. So when they are coming to tracking and reporting on performance measures, they start from the individual. Let's assume this is our Mlawe company. When you have performed for 6 months, we come up with a performance appraisal. Assuming she has performed very poorly, he has performed very poorly, both of you can't reach your targets. You have performed dismally, you even stopped working. He even absconded. He never came back to work. And she just comes and does nothing. And him, at the end there, he's always fomenting his friends to strike and do, but not working at all. If all of you are what Mlawe is, are we going to have the best cooking oil? No. So, at least among you who have her, him, and him doing very well. Some of you, excellent work, and so on. Although that lady there, she's always slow and that kind of thing, she can't meet her targets. And him, after he left, we just said, after all, he's a lazy man. At least we will know after evaluating, some measure of best cooking oil will be made, isn't it? Yes. Are we in agreement? You are with me? So it starts from the individual. If the majority of the individuals do well, the department will also be evaluated and it will also do well. Okay? After that, the whole company takes evaluation from one department, another department, another. If all of them are above board, they are doing well, the organization is going to do well. So, tracking and reporting on performance measures becomes a very important activity in the organization. This one, although it comes as if it is pamapeto, it's a continuous activity. Communicate strategy to all levels of the organization continuously. From the strategy should never be forgotten to be spread to everybody. I think you are together with me. Once these are done, goals are in perfect condition. Right? Maybe we can move. Okay? Breaking goals into strategic objectives. You know, goals is the bigger picture. Objectives are, you are cutting the goals into smaller bits or smaller goals. So now it is time to turn those strategic goals into strategic objectives in order to be more specific. A useful framework for turning strategic goals into strategic is to be smart as well. So SMART goes for the goals as well as the objectives, where these should also be specific, measurable, and so on. How do you write strategic objectives? One, objectives should relate back to the goals and provide more details. So in other words, when we are doing this, this derives from objectives. But when we are doing this, these constitute what will become our strategies, and we will develop objectives from this. Okay? Mukuona bwino bwino. You know, objective is what you want to achieve, but in detail. Goal is what you want to achieve as a bigger picture. Objective is a small goal, the small ones. That's why we derive objectives from functions of units. You know functions of units? Eh? Do you remember functions of units? Or examples of units? What are examples of units? You remember department, sections, divisions, units. Finance department, HR department, programs and projects, operations, those are units. Mukumvesa bwino bwino pamene. So the big goal is broken into units, into functional, maybe that's the best way to put it. Functional units. We are still keeping to our Mlawe. So if we have Mlawe, Malawi, right? We'll have our goal, but we need to have our functional units. Processing, programs, finance, and administration. And then we may have HR, depending on how big the organization is. R&D. These are just departments or units or sections. Mukumvesa? So each one will come up with their own objectives, but with the big goal in mind. Here we have objectives. I think now I am becoming clear. We have Mlawe, we have our goal, then the objectives come from this. When we break these objectives, that's where now we come to activities, tasks. And we are going to talk about that as well. We want to finish that today. From here, we have our objectives, but after this, we have our tasks and activities. If you simply understand that, it is going to be so easy for you to go through the whole process. So objectives should relate back to the goals and provide more detail. The statements should be quantitative and provide a target. When we come to actually doing a strategic plan, you see that it will be very important that we should identify the kind of realistic targets we want our objectives to have. We must be sure that the statements are concise. What does concise mean? Concise. Short. Simple. Concise means short, simple, that can be understood, and then consistent with the goal. Concise means short, simple, and understandable. If it becomes too long, it blurs meaning. It makes the meaning difficult to understand. But they must be concise and consistent with the goal. Choose the most appropriate action verbs in the present tense for your objective statements. I still want to repeat, there must be active verbs in the present tense. Procure, train, employ, order. I think we are clear about this. Any questions so far? As we are waiting for our friends for a small little break. Any questions? With the heat, I can understand. It becomes very difficult to concentrate. Yes. 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 Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So there's a particular book that I was reading. Before I can ask that question, between vision and mission statement, which is the first thing that an organization is supposed to do?
This is, it depends on the school you are coming from. Most of what I am talking, I was employed by USAID agency, which was Management Sciences for Health. The headquarters was the Boston, and their headquarters was next to Harvard University. You know Harvard University? You have ever heard of it? So most of the things that they were propounding to us and through USAID were coming from Harvard University. Now, from my school, you always start with the vision. From my school. But there are other people, they start with the mission statement. I have a lot of problems with them starting with the mission statement and coming to the vision.
Because this other book which I was reading defined a vision as something that, for example, tells us what the organization would like to be better serving the particular objective or the particular mission that it has in the future later. So how can you come up with a vision whereby you don't have a mission?
No, it's the other way around. It's the way you have a chicken and egg. How do you have an egg without a chicken? But you also say a chicken comes out of an egg. That's what the question is. But in my own, from my school, I always prefer to start with a vision because it's a dream. Mukumvesa bwino bwino. Aim at the stars and then you reach the treetops. When you have a dream, I think it was in this class, I gave you the example of a dream of becoming a doctor. You remember? Was it in this class? So, if you know you want to be, you can't say mission, then you say I'll go to school, I'll go to university and so on, without knowing what you want to become. You must say, my aim is to get first to become a doctor. But if I want to become a doctor, what is it that I want to do? That's the mission. So it depends on which school of thought you are coming from. Even when you are looking at this, I will show you, I also get bogged down by this one. You have seen this challenge model. You have seen. They have put what? The vision is at the center. Mukumvesa? The vision is at the center. It's the same as having a circle. You have a vision at the center, then mission surrounding it. Mukumvesa bwino bwino. It's just diagrammatically, that's what vision is at the center. Which means that's very critical. It's the first thing to do. Okay? So my mission, my school starts all the time with a vision. And then you come to a mission step. Yes? Must what?
Both inspire and guide. But it also defined it as how a vision statement as how is the company's mission to be served in the future. How the company's mission.
I don't agree with that one. The vision, no, I will tell you. I said it depends on which school of thought you are coming from. Where I come from, you have a dream. You have the most highest level achievement goal. It is the vision. The mission is how to get there. In fact, the framing of the mission must encompass details of how you are getting to the vision. That's the way it is. So some books can cheat you because they come from different schools.
Yeah, because this book says mission statement is the main purpose for conducting the business activities. So the vision
main statement on achieving the vision. Achieving the vision. The vision is number one important. Without a vision, you can't create a mission. Without us saying we want to have the best cooking oil, how are we going to couch the mission statement? If we just say we don't have this, if we don't have this, how are we going to couch the how to do it? The mission is how to do it. Mukumva? That's the simplest way. And I don't think I can change from that stand because it has helped me a lot. So if you have that kind of, there are a lot of arguments between which, just like the chicken and egg. You know chicken and egg? To you, which came first, the chicken or the egg? The chicken. You say the chicken. Where did the chicken come from? Huh?
It was created by God.
But we have seen the chicken coming out of an egg. Yes. Oh, you see, here you have brought in an external factor, creation by God. Are you able to quantify or can you support that fact that a chicken was actually created by God? Because that fact, it's not a fact, it's a belief, or what do you call? But for a chicken coming out of an egg, is it a fact or is it false? Is it false to see a chicken coming out of an egg? It's a fact. We see it. But have you ever seen God creating a chicken? Sorry, I'm not being non-godly, but I'm just trying to be logical. Okay?